Hello everyone, my name is Cypher and happy Halloween! Or Nightmare Night, whatever you prefer. This is definitely a video for the bronies. I'm trying to get Halloween stuff that isn't brony related for the channel as well, but it might just be pony stuff this year because I am on a huge kick. I mean, it's not like I ever wasn't a fan. Since the 4th generation came out, I've been a fan of My Little Pony. And especially a huge fan of the grimdark fanfiction, fan art sides of My Little Pony. I mean, my first project I ever made was a Cupcakes sequel comic. I got 10 pages into it before I burned it like the little emo child I was. And I still regret that. I wish I had that comic to look back on, but yeah, it was about Scootaloo being the victim, if anybody's interested. I've tried to remake it multiple times, it hasn't happened. This is actually being made because the song Rainbow Factory, which is such a staple of the grimdark of My Little Pony, is 10 years old this Halloween. Nightmare Night, the other song by Wooden Toaster, will also be 10 years old, which is pretty cool. I might make a piece for that, but probably won't make a video out of it. But yeah, I'm just really excited for that because I don't quite remember when the song came out or anything. I wasn't that with it, but I certainly remember hearing the song for the first time and seeing the Brony Dance Party video, and oh, the nostalgia, you know, it hits hard. I watched the new My Little Pony movie recently, which I'm hoping to make a video about, and I was so relieved that it wasn't terrible because I value this fandom so highly. I was so sad when people started leaving the fandom. You know, it's around season 6, 7, people kind of just started leaving en masse because the show was getting long. Yeah, I get it, but I stuck it out the whole way because I just adore everything this show does. There is only one moment in this show that I genuinely didn't like, and I'll talk about that another time because otherwise this will turn into a rant and not a happy video. But I really liked Rainbow Factory. Honestly, between the two big grimdarks being Rainbow Factory and Cupcakes, I couldn't tell you which was my favorite. They were both pretty okay. Honestly, they're both pretty bad stories, you know, when you talk about the fan fiction, but like, I love the Rainbow Factory song. I still jam to that. And the other songs inspired by it, Pegasus Device, man, Pegasus Device was like my go-to on singing, what was it, like Singing is Magic? Something like that. The MLP, like, fan-made karaoke game. I adore that. I'd love to start making playthroughs of that. But I love that game so much, and one of my go-tos was Pegasus Device. Even though it's so hard to keep up with, I love it. And Awoken. Awoken is really good as a song and as a fanfic. I love Awoken. Just the concept of the Rainbow Factory was really cool, and that's why I give the song like so much credit, other than just being a good song. Even though the Rainbow Factory fanfiction that came after was maybe not the best, certainly not the best fanfiction I've seen from this fandom. The concept that this song made of the Rainbow Factory and it being this evil place is so interesting, because it's essentially asking the question, what if your job was murder? Like, what if killing was what you got paid to do, and the toll that that takes on someone? And that's what Awoken explored, the story and the song, and that's why I liked that one so much. But I really do love the Rainbow Factory, and I love the community that Grimdark has with ponies, because it's the last place you'd expect to see it. But honestly, I love that Grimdark exists so heavily in here. You can see this is where I'm looking for a reference picture I don't have, and you'll see a cut here where I forgot to start recording when I got that reference picture, and the line art magically appears. So yeah, sorry about that, but I love this. I love this fandom so much. I do miss its glory days a little bit. Some would argue I wasn't even there for the glory days, because the glory days to me are like 2014 through 2016 especially. But, you know, I mean, I wasn't quite there at the beginning. I liked the show from the beginning, But I was pretty much the age you would have expected. I was like a 9-year-old girl when the show came out, and well, clearly a lot's changed since then, both with me and with the show and the community. So I missed out on some of the early days. I didn't get into fandom until season 3, but I got in so hard. I didn't get in through Grimdark, but Grimdark kind of introduced me to horror, to be honest. I was so scared of horror movies, and it was watching Cupcake's animations that really made me fall in love with horror and sort of get to where I'm at now, where I'm writing horror and I just adore horror movies. And I'm still always on the lookout for good My Little Pony Grimdark. I am so excited to see what sort of Grimdark comes out of the new series, because I need it, man. What is the Cupcakes of the next generation going to be? Now that's assuming we're gonna have a Cupcakes of the next generation, but I hope we do, because that phenomenon just happened. Like, Cupcakes is such a bizarre thing to have happened. Not just as a story, but like being such a phenomenon for the fandom, and even outside of it, you know, it's creepypasta. And sorry if you heard that car in the background. I'm recording in my apartment off my iPad, so if the quality is shit, I am very sorry. But I was just so excited when I found out about the 10th anniversary, and I really needed to make this video in order to talk about it, because I just need to talk about it. If you've been with my channel from the beginning, which I highly doubt anyone has, I used to make My Little Pony speed paints. I did Grimdark speed paints. I, you know, was super inspired by like Emilogis and Miss Smile and all the ones you would expect. And that's sort of where I learned to draw too, is my drawing also came from My Little Pony. So this fandom and the show just introduced so many things to me that are mainstays in my life now. I'm so excited to see where it goes, and especially where the Grimdark goes, because I will follow where the Grimdark goes. I have my certain limitations around what type of horror I can, you know, consume, but for the most part, I'll read just about anything. I mean, I read Patty Cakes, and that, I was too young to read that. I did not expect that to be what it was. Don't look it up, please. Cupcakes, fine, whatever. If you don't know what that is, maybe some caution, but like, it's not the worst. But Patty Cakes is a very different type of story than I was expecting as, like, I don't know, a 14-year-old, 13-year-old, something like that. But yeah, I just fell in love with all the Grimdarks, and there are certainly better Grimdarks ideas and stories than the Rainbow Factory, than Cupcakes. But they're just iconic, you know? There's just something about them that can't be replaced, and that is so cool. I suppose I haven't talked much about the art. That's mostly because I don't have much to say. I'm not actually that happy with it. It's mostly just the staining. You haven't gotten to that point yet, but when I start adding the blood and the spectra colors, I've just never gotten that to look good whenever I've made a Rainbow Factory picture. And I think it's just because drawing stains, like, in fabric and on fur is just really difficult to make look not cheap when you're not doing an incredibly detailed style. I'll figure it out someday, but yeah, I still love how, like, the line art and everything turned out. I don't usually color my line art. Even for pony stuff, I don't usually color my line art, so that was a bit new. And this is not my first time drawing ponies, because I did a digital painting of Twilight in the new G5 style. I never made a video out of it because it took so long. There would have been far too much footage to do anything with. But because of that, I was sort of accustomed to drawing ponies again, but I also had drawn that in the G5 style. So this was sort of a mix of, like, that, my usual pony style from, like, I don't know, like 3-4 years ago? It's been a minute. And the normal G4 style. It's sort of a mix of everything I've learned about drawing since I stopped drawing ponies, because I never stopped being interested in the fandom, but I just stopped drawing them as often and started doing other things. And here I colored in Rainbow Dash's cutie mark backwards because I completely didn't have a reference, and I was like, oops. So I had to fix that, but it turns out fine. Honestly, coloring like Rainbow's hair and stuff is about the easiest part of the drawing because I've done it so many times. I mean, yes, it's been a minute, but I think coloring Rainbow's hair was where I learned about what clipping masks are. Oh, it's funny to think. But yeah, if anybody's curious how I made this, on an iPad, I don't know if it's an iPad Pro, I don't think I have an iPad Pro. I have an iPad and an Apple Pencil, and that works, and this is the reason I got it. And then iPad actually just has a built-in recording function for screen recording, which is really cool and very useful. See, there's where I got the reference image. Rainbow's cutie mark has always been difficult for me to draw. I don't know why. Shouldn't be, but it is. But yeah, iPad, Apple Pencil, and just recording with the software that, you know, Apple has given me. Which is useful, because I always had a hard time figuring out screen recording on, like, phones and stuff, because, you know, it's hard to find good apps that'll allow you to record long enough to make a speed paint, because it can take hours. I mean, this is like 3 hours of footage compressed into 15 minutes. So I was pretty happy with it. This one ends up a little clunky, trying to get all of the colors in because of the way I drew the tail was so stylized, it didn't quite fit. But, I mean, I figured it out. It works out. I was actually listening to Grimdarks while drawing this. I've been going through Scribbler Productions, previously Obab Scribbler, her My Little Pony Grimdark playlist, because, I don't know, hear new Grimdarks. I like Grimdarks, and I haven't heard new ones in a while, and it's Halloween season. So I've just been listening to ones that I hadn't caught before. And I remember this one specifically, I was listening to Holder's Boulder, which is an interesting story. It's very creepy, like, it's got vibes. I don't know if scary is the word for it, though. And I think here's where, yep, I start fixing the colors, because I knew they were out of order. I just needed all the sections correct. Yeah, there you go. And I think this is where I started, like, I put all the layers so I could mess with them, and then I start on the blood and stuff, and the blood was hard. The blood was really hard to do, because, I did the eyes, but the blood was really hard to do because in the story, it says that Rainbow was so covered in blood that you couldn't even really tell what color her coat was supposed to be, and that is a lot more blood than I'd usually put in a drawing. I'm not against high gore drawings, but like, at some point, it stops being scary and starts becoming a little over the top, and that's kind of the point that this was at. I also kind of cheated the shading a little, but like, see, that just, it doesn't look good, at least not to me. I don't like just airbrushing blood color and expecting that to be blood, because it just doesn't work. I tried to do like splatter, but it just didn't look right. I knew it'd have to be on the ends of the hooves because, you know, walking through that facility, I'm sure you'd get blood caked all on your hooves. But I don't know, I tried to play with like masks and everything. It just wasn't working out. I tried to play with layer styles, and I didn't know how much blood to put on the wings, because realistically, how much blood would get on her wings? I don't know. I just did my best. Like I said, this is part of the drawing where I don't know how to do it. I don't. I even tried outlining, see if that would help, and it didn't. But, you know, it's fine. Because all I really wanted to do was make a celebration of the grimdark side of the fandom through the anniversary of one of the biggest grimdarks in the fandom. I don't know when the story came out, but I know for a fact that the 10th anniversary of the song it technically already happened. I don't remember exactly when, but I figured this will be the 10th Halloween, so it still counts. You know, 10th anniversary, Halloween, it all works out. And then I tried to make a background. I had a cool idea for the background, and I ended up going with a generic one. Not really intentionally, it just kind of happened. I don't know what was with me and misaligning, like, the amount of strips I could put for the rainbow, but I did that with the tail and with the background for some reason. But yeah, this is pretty much the piece. I don't know if proud is the word, but like, I'm happy I made it. I'm happy that Wooden Toaster made the song, because clearly they made a little bit of brony history. And I really look forward to seeing where this fandom goes, so I really thank you all for watching, and have an excellent day. Bye!